Hello, this is Robert Polenic, the owner of Brutal Iron Gym. I'm here for another video. Basically what these videos kind of covering are some recent topics that are coming up for some of the interns that we have from the local university, and also just some topics that some of the members have suggested. So today's topic is how to structure a power building workout, and what that kind of refers to is there's kind of something that's common now. It's probably been common for a long time, but it's kind of given a name now in recent culture, is they'll call it power building, where a person wants to kind of work on powerlifting, like get stronger, but they also want to do bodybuilding at the same time. So what the idea is sometimes if you focus only on bodybuilding, they feel like they might not get as strong, and if they focus only on strength, they feel like they might not get as big. So the idea of power building is to kind of balance between both. Do a little bit of powerlifting, which is strength training, and a little bit of bodybuilding, which is like mass training. So their goal is to try to be big and strong, not one or the other. So kind of how a little background for myself is when I graduated high school at 18 years old, I was 165 pounds, and my free lift total would have been somewhere around 850 pounds. So that's all three lifts. So yes, that's very low. But at 165 pounds, I was actually still kind of like a skinny fat kind of build. So I wasn't kind of the epitome of power at that moment. So from a body weight of 165 at 18, I'm now 32 years old, and I weigh 285 to 290 pounds. So I've gained about 120 pounds to my body weight. And then also my total went from about an 850 when I graduated high school to now being just over 1700. So I have some decent experience with gaining weight. So I've gained over 120 pounds in my body size, and don't have too big of a gut or anything. And then also I've gotten quite a bit stronger over the years, and hopefully I still have a lot more strength to go. So that's a little bit about me and why, what my background is as to why I feel qualified to talk about this. So on our board here we have a lot of writing, and I'm going to try to go pretty quickly today through this video so that way it doesn't get drawn out too long, and we kind of touch on the basic concepts. And at the very end I'm going to offer the gym's email, and through the email, if you want all this stuff more in depth or an actual program, I'd be happy to send it to you. So basically the idea of a single workout structure is what we're going to talk about today, rather than putting together a whole program. That can be a little bit daunting, so I figured we'd just start the video today about just one single workout. So one of the first things most people kind of overlook is the warm-up, and that's what's written over here. Hopefully you can read some of this stuff. But a warm-up is actually extremely important. So sometimes we'll have guys, young guys walk into the gym, and on bench day they just walk right through the door, put 135 on the bar, do it a couple reps, 225 a couple reps, then they try to do like 275 and bomb out, something like that. So they don't really have any warm-up going at all, and then very often within a week or two or a month they come to us, like the older guys in the gym, and they'll say like, hey, my shoulders are hurting, what can I do? And we tell them to do a warm-up. So the general purpose of a warm-up is it improves kind of joint health by getting blood flow and kind of water flow into the joint. So you can get into the science of whether there's water, blood in joints, and blah, 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 blah. But in general, it just gets the joint kind of flowing better, feeling better, so it gets a little bit of a pump through those muscles related to the joint. And that way when you go to move heavier weights, the joint is more cushioned, so it'll feel smoother. So the other thing we have is it improves performance. And this is often something overlooked, but I've seen it in clients, I've seen it myself, is when you get a good warm-up going and you get a sweat going, you get a little bit of like burning pain in some of the working muscles. So I'm not saying if I'm going to bench press I'm going to try to wear out my chest, but if I get a decent set of cable flies in where I'm doing a set of 20-30 reps, maybe 2 or 3 sets of that, and I get a good burn, a good bump in my chest, it'll actually allow you to perform better on your bigger lifts. Kind of 2 basic reasons you can think of is it helps to produce more endorphins, so which are like natural painkillers. So when you get into your heavy weight, it won't feel quite as heavy because your body's already kicked up some of these endorphins. And it also increases adrenaline. So if you get a little bit of burn pain in your warm-up, your body produces a little more adrenaline, has a little more aggressiveness to put towards the workout, to put towards the big weight. So that's kind of 2 side benefits. Well, one benefit, if you think it as improved performance, is the hormonal change. So you get a little more natural painkillers and you get a little more aggression to be able to put into your heaviest weights. So once you do a warm-up, then the next component you want to work on is strength. So again, the idea of this whole video is to talk about power building. So we want to get strong and we want to get bigger muscles. So right after the warm-up is kind of the best time in the workout to address your strength. So your joints are primed and ready to go, but your main muscles aren't worn out. So you'll still have really good stability during the big movements, and you'll have a good amount of energy to put into those. So our strength components we want to think of, where most people mess up is they just come in and work up to 1 rep max, it goes well or doesn't go well, and then they move on to other stuff. That's not enough. What that is 1 rep max is kind of more like testing your strength and seeing where it is, rather than building your strength. So in order to build your strength, you have to spend a little more time under heavy weights rather than just 1 or 2 kind of heavy sets and be done. So what we have here written in is kind of like a wave. So what I'd suggest is coming in doing a workout where you do sets of 5s. Then maybe the next time you come in on that exact same body part, maybe you'll do sets of 3s instead of 5s, so get up a little bit heavier in weight. Then maybe the 3rd week you come in and you try a 1 rep max. So, and that would be kind of the idea. And then we have here is written 50%. And what that refers to is kind of after the workout where you do a 1 rep max, your body might be beat up. So it's going to need like 1 workout maybe to kind of catch up. So what we suggest is you come in and just use about 50% of your 1 rep max and kind of work on technique, work on form. So if you're doing bench press, you can play around with different hand widths. If you're doing deadlift, you can play around with different foot widths and see what works best for you. So that 50% day is not a wasted day at all. It's a really good day to kind of work on technique and try to work on how you want to position yourself, or maybe a mental cue you want to work on for the next couple heavy workouts. So you'll see 5, 3, 1, and then a deloaded week, or a week where you're kind of under like a low percentage, just to say that, so a low percentage. This follows a pattern of a popular powerlifting program called Wendler's 5-3-1, and we will get to that at the end of the video. So this is a really good basic format that a lot of other people have used in their programs, maybe in different rep schemes and whatnot. But the whole idea is to create some type of wave to your strength training. So you can't just come in and do 1 rep maxes all the time, but likewise you have to try 1 rep max every once in a while to see where you're at and see if you're getting stronger. So the next thing we have there is exercise selection for the strength components. Is if I want to get better at, say, like a competition lift, say I want to get into powerlifting and I want to figure out how to do a barbell bench press with a good competition pause, it might be helpful for a couple workouts to pick the exact same exercise in a row. So do that competition bench. Maybe do it week 1 where you're doing 5s, then we'll do it week 2 where you're doing sets of 3s. Week 4 you can do it for your single, and then you'll have that like 4th week where you can maybe pick a different exercise, or you can stay with that competition lift and again still kind of work on technique. So if you tend to pick the same exercise for weeks in a row, that'll allow you to work on the technique of that lift. So that can be beneficial if you need to learn technique. However, after a while your body does get bored. And what I mean by that is it'll get kind of used to that lift, and the stimulus of that lift won't be as great. So you'll need to kind of switch things up. So we have written in there that if you pick a different lift, it helps to work on any imbalances. So if you notice, like for example in a squat, maybe right out of the hole your knees kind of shoot backward and your body tilts forward, that might mean that your like quads are kind of weak on a squat. So what you can do is you can do kind of a 4 weeks with a regular squat, then maybe the next 4 weeks to use a front squat, and that'll help you work on your quads. So it's kind of one of those things where if you need to get better at a specific lift, use it for a couple weeks in a row to learn the technique. And once you feel like you understand the technique for that lift, then go ahead and start playing around and picking different options. So you still want to pick with big movements. So if I'm doing a squat day, I want to do a back squat, maybe a safety squat bar, cambered squat, front squat. You can do pause squats, but you want to stay with squats. So whereas instead people might pick like a leg press or this such and such machine, you don't really want to do that. You want to stay with big main lifts like free weights, which is like barbells and dumbbells, kind of big exercises where you get to work a lot of muscles. So that's the idea of strength, is in that section again we kind of have a wave to it, and you have your exercise choices. You can pick either the same thing to work on the technique of it, or once you understand the technique, work on a little bit of variety with lifts. So after the main strength component, we want to then move on to your mass section. So this would be where you do more bodybuilder type work. And again, you want to kind of have the concept of doing waves with this. If you come into the gym and you pick the same exercises and just do 3 sets of 10 all the time, your body will get bored with that as well. The stimulus will be too low and your body will stop adapting. So again, maybe creating some type of wave program in reps might be a good idea. So I have written here waves of 15 reps, then one workout, then maybe the next workout you do sets of 12, then sets of 10, then sets of 8. These are just examples. But what it shows is that from week to week to week, or workout to workout to workout, I mean, that you're not going to be doing the exact same rep range all the time. So like changing exercises does provide a pretty good stimulus, but you also need to change up the rep range and change up other techniques and stuff from time to time. If you're always doing sets of 10 and just changing exercises, yeah, you're creating one mode of variance, but there's a lot of other options out there. So it's best to kind of use a little bit of everything and keep that body guessing. So what we have here for exercise selections is you do want to create a little bit of variety, but you don't want to get too off track. So if I want to get a big upper back, and I know like maybe barbell rows, dumbbell rows, they work really well for me. There's T-bar rows, you can do that. Maybe even mix in some cable rows. But you don't want to start doing some kind of weird, funky thing you saw on YouTube where some guy's bouncing on a Bosu ball doing some kind of goofy thing with a 15-pound dumbbell. So that's not going to build strength. So you want to stick with kind of big basic movements that work well. And the programs I'm going to suggest at the end of the video, they do give suggestions as to what those big basic lifts are. But that's kind of the concept is, if I want a big back, I have to do things that equal big back, which is usually big weights. So now we still stay within these rep ranges of 15, 12, 10, and 8, but it's a heavy weight for 15 reps, not just some rinky-dink like light dumbbell. So then the last thing we want to add into our workouts is some type of endurance effect. So and this might be just some kind of activity, just 1 or 2, maybe just a few sets of something a little bit higher rep range. What this does is helps kind of even out some tightness in the muscles. So maybe after really heavy bench press, your chest is really tight. So if you come back and do something high rep, that might help loosen it up a little bit before you leave the gym. And that kind of relates to kind of joint health, which is the last thing down there. The first thing we have under there says leanness. So by doing some athletic type activities, that's going to help you just kind of, endurance activities is going to help you feel athletic. And it's going to help you burn some extra calories. So if you're eating a lot of food to kind of make up for the wear and tear of the workouts, by doing a little bit of endurance work at the end, it'll help kind of negate maybe a little bit of belly flub you'll be gaining. So it'll kind of keep you a little more athletic feeling. So you won't feel like you're getting this big lumbersome body. You're going to feel like you're still more of an athlete. So that's kind of what the left side of the board here runs down, is the individual components of the workout. And then in the middle of the board, what we have is kind of a sample workout for like chest / bench press. So it's a workout where I want to come in and work on my bench press, also a little bit of bodybuilding effect for my chest. So there's a lot of ways, there's probably, like dozens and dozens of ways to set up these workouts. So this is just one example. And like I said, in the programs I'm going to suggest, they'll give you more examples. So just kind of like pay attention to this as we go along and just kind of pay attention to the concepts of what we're trying to achieve. So the first thing we have there is a warm-up. So I have written in here is to do some flies and some reverse flies. So I think for bench press it helps to have a little bit of an upper back pump. And it also helps when you work on your upper back, it helps to kind of stretch your chest out for the day. So if you've been sitting at a desk all day and you're kind of hunched over, it'll help to do a little bit of upper back activity to kind of pull that open. So you can do these with cables, with dumbbells, kind of anything. But you're looking for, it says here, like 3 sets of 20. So I want to do like 20 reps of a cable fly or chest fly. And then I want to do 20 reps of maybe reverse fly. Go back and forth for 3 sets. So like I said, that kind of gets our joints warmed up for the day. Gets a little bit of adrenaline going, a little bit of endorphins. Kind of gets you primed and ready for that first big movement. So our first big movement could be a bench press with pause. So simple competition style bench press and powerlifting. And I might run a 5x5. So generally I recommend, usually people do like 3 to 5 working sets of 3 to 5 reps. That's a general recommendation for strength work. So 5 sets of 5 is a little bit on the upper end, but it's a good one to aim for. So if you notice at sets 3 and 4 your quality's going to crap and it's just not going well, don't worry about that 5th set. But it's a good thing to try to aim for. If you end up being able to do 5x5 with, say, a certain weight, maybe you can do 225 for 5 sets of 5 and you're pretty successful in that last set, then it shows it's time to move up in weight the next time you come back to a workout where you're using that same rep scheme. So likewise, if I was doing 3 sets of 3 and I could do that with 275 pretty easily, I would want to move up in weight the next time I come back to that workout. I might only move up 5 or 10 pounds maybe, but you definitely want to move up. So then our next component we have is the mass building. So I've done my warm-up, I've done my strength activity, and now I want to work on the bodybuilding effect. So I have written in here we can do dumbbell incline press. So I want to follow up a flat barbell press with something that's has some variety to that. So it's not a barbell and it's not going to be flat. So instead we'll do dumbbells and incline. But it's just trying to create some kind of little bit of a change from the workout stimulus you just did, the exercise stimulus. So I would do dumbbell incline press. If this is my first set of waves, I might be on sets of 15. So I'll do 3 to 4 sets of 15 reps. And then maybe I'll go to cable chest flies again, do 3 to 4 sets of 15 reps. So that's kind of the idea, is you're going to mix in some bodybuilding work right after your main lift. So again, we're kind of staying with big movements. So dumbbell incline press is going to allow us to move a lot of weight. It's going to address my chest. It's also going to hit a little bit of front delt, a little bit of triceps. So that's kind of a good overall builder. And then maybe as my arms got tired from the bench pressing and the incline press, maybe now I'll do some chest flies to kind of isolate that chest and find the last little bit that's left in there. So, and I have written in here that you can add in intensity techniques like rest, pause, and drop sets and stuff like that. So there are a whole list of intensity techniques you can add in to bodybuilding in order to make the amount of work you're doing more effective. So instead of having to do 4 or 5 exercises, you can do 2 or 3 with some intensity techniques. So intensity techniques would be like rest, pause, drop set. You can superset the exercises together. There's a lot of different things out there. So if you're interested in what all the intensity techniques are, you can simply just Google intensity techniques, or you can shoot us an email, and I have a handout I can send you of a long list with full explanations of what some intensity techniques are. So then the last thing we have is that endurance factor. So what I have written here is a push-up ladder. So it might be something where I have a barbell pretty low on a rack, and I might do 10 push-ups. Once I kind of reach failure there, I'll bring the barbell up a couple inches, maybe 6 inches or a foot. I'll try another 10 reps. Once that's failure, I'll come up another 6 to 12 inches and try another set to failure. So you can see it's written as 3 by 10, 10, 10. So it's 30 reps total, which definitely hits into that endurance area. And it helps me just kind of finish off the muscles of the day. And like we said, it helps to kind of balance out any tightness, kind of get a lot more blood flowing through those joints. So the last thing I've written in there is battle ropes. So it's a good thing to kind of mix that into, because even though like doing battle ropes isn't necessarily for your chest, it does help your shoulders. It'll help blood flow through your shoulders and your upper back, and help those areas be loosened up before you leave the gym. And again, it just burns more calories, keeps you more athletic feeling. So this would be an example of a rundown of kind of like a bench / chest focused power building day. So let me switch sides here. So on this side, what we have is just a general explanation for kind of the components we want to make sure we hit. So strength, again, is anywhere between 3 to 5 reps. And again, if you're doing 1 rep, it's more so testing strength rather than building. But the whole idea of doing a power building workout where you want to get stronger and you want to get bigger is to make sure you do something in all of these areas. So I want to do something that addresses strength. I want to do something that addresses mass, which I've written as 8 to 12 reps, and something that addresses endurance, which I've written as 20 and over. So you can see there's definitely some gaps and kind of spaces in between there. So we have from 5 to 8 is kind of the gap between strength and mass. So if I do a set of 6, is it purely mass or is it purely strength? You know, it's probably a combination of both. So, and likewise, even if you do a really heavy set of 10 reps, you're definitely going to get a bodybuilder effect. And will you get stronger? Sure. But that just gives you kind of the idea of the ranges to be in. So it doesn't really matter if you're 100% in one category or not. The whole idea is just cover these ranges. So within a single workout for a body part, or kind of a group of body parts, so pushing muscles or pulling muscles or legs, you want to address something for strength, something for mass, and something for endurance. And that'll make sure you kind of get the whole picture and you do get that power building effect where you get stronger, you get bigger, and you still keep some type of athletic feel to yourself. So the last thing we have written here, 2 programs that I've used personally, and I think they blend well, the concept of strength training plus bodybuilding. One is Wendler's 5-through-1, that's Jim Wendler. You can go to his website, I believe, or you can go to Amazon. They have like ebooks of his program. And then the second one is Brandon Lilly's Cube Method. So the 5-3-1, Wendler's 5-3-1, it kind of has the structure we talked about today, where everything's kind of in one workout, and then you just kind of have like a 3-week wave where you work up to a really strong day, and then you take a week where you're kind of at lighter percentages. So it's kind of the structure we have here. Brandon Lilly's Cube Method is a little more stretched out. So he has individual days, like one day might be purely for strength, one day might be purely for bodybuilding, but he makes sure that within, like, say, a 4-week rotation, everything is in their equal amount. So it's kind of a little bit more of a drawn-out type program, and that might be better for somebody if you find you can't recover well in between really heavy workouts. So that's actually kind of how what I found out was I tried Jim Wendler's 5-3-1 program, and given my workload at the time, I was working 10 to 12 hours a day on my feet. I just wasn't recovering in time. So I went ahead and switched to the Cube Method. I found that I liked that a lot for at that time, and since then I've moved on and tried other programs, but these are 2 that I believe worked really well. And then also we have down here the gym's email, which is brutalirongym@gmail.com, and I have a couple templates if you're interested that you can kind of use and kind of see which template you like and kind of tweak it to your individual needs from there. So hopefully this video is helpful. So if you have any questions, or if you want to request the Intensity Techniques handout or some type of power building program, again, you can contact the gym at brutalirongym@gmail.com. That's all small letters, all one word, brutalirongym@gmail.com. Okay, thank you.